Hi everyone, I'm Kirsten Alberts and I am a trauma counselor specializing in familial abuse. When anyone even mentions estrangement or no contact, half the world conjures up images of heartbroken parents whose adult children took the decision to tear their families apart entirely into their own hands. This couldn't be further from the truth. Toxic parents deciding they've had enough happens more often and far sooner than their adult children do. Some throw ridiculous but revolting tantrums before they tell their children never to contact them again. Some just stop calling or answering and carry on as if their children didn't exist. And some just pack up and disappear. This video is about a somewhat different style of parental abandonment. These are the parents who spend years forcing their adult children to hand over their safety and autonomy, along with their livelihoods, their marriages, and even their own children, who storm out of their children's lives screaming that they're horrible, heartless, and hateful, and then swear they have no idea why they're estranged or how they're ever going to recover. The reason I say this style of abandonment is somewhat different is because the parents seem to treat the discard like a breakup. Their children aren't just dealing with the trauma associated with parental abandonment, they're also dealing with all the drama and all the mess usually associated with a bad breakup. Stalking, smear campaigning, property damage, sending threatening messages, and returning photographs and keepsakes are issues associated with toxic romantic relationships, not familial ones, making the whole fiasco even more frightening and confusing. If you've seen me before, you'll know that I do a lot of my research on forums for estranged parents, and I went back to these groups to show you how these parents go marching out of their children's lives, telling them that they're bad kids and bad parents in bad jobs with bad marriages, while telling everyone else that it was all their children's fault. This, of course, completely baffles the adult children, especially when whatever their parents are accusing them of isn't even remotely true. These adult children have good jobs, great relationships, and happy children, and cannot understand why their parents would accuse them of being terrible people with disgusting relationships and unhappy kids. Most have tried everything they can think of to reason with their parents. Countless talks, compromises, boundaries, therapy, but everything they've tried seems to have made it all worse. That's because it has. Here come the first batch of quotes. Brace yourselves. My daughter told me before we go on holiday to try to accept her husband and treat everyone better. Never. That little bitch needs to accept that she's the problem and should treat her mother better. Mine told me not to say and do certain things with my grandchildren so she can stop worrying so much when they're with me. I told her that what I say and do with my grandchildren is none of her concern. Her concern is with what she says to me. My son actually told me to speak more respectfully to his wife when I visit. He needs to tell his wife to leave and speak more respectfully to his mother. What is this? It's insanity is what it is, and this is not about everyone trying to get along, like my son says. He even suggested counseling. He needs his head screwed on straight, not me. I do the opposite of what my daughter says. It teaches her that the only thing needing resolving, as she says, is her bloody cheek. Exactly. If they really wanted everyone to get along, they wouldn't argue with a parent. They'd learn to keep their disrespectful mouths shut. Or we can show them the consequences. Exactly. I am sick of my kids telling me what to do. I'd rather have no kids than this shit. This is why compromises and boundaries don't work. The adult children explain why it's so necessary, and the parents explain that the only thing necessary is to show some damn respect. The road the adult children pave to keep their parents in their lives is the road the parents will take to walk out of them. But some don't keep walking. They leave horrific notes and packages in or around their children's homes. They try to have them or their spouses fired, evicted, or arrested. They fake lawyers' letters and threaten to steal their grandchildren from their schools and sports matches. Then they wail about how their kids are tearing their families apart. And this is just the shit that happens after no contact. We haven't even begun to delve into what these parents did before it. But they all say they have no idea why this happened. Honestly, when this happened to me, I had no idea either. So let's have a look, shall we? In the previous videos, we had a look at the reasons the adult children go no contact. Now it's the parents' turn. And their first reason is quite simply that they're sick of their kids trying to make them be nice. They've had enough of their kids telling them how to treat them, their homes, and their spouses, and they are sick to death of being told what they can and cannot do to their grandchildren. What makes them even sicker is seeing how the only way they know how to fix this is slipping away. Their usual bullying and threatening just isn't working like it used to. These damn kids won't budge. Now the parents don't know what to do. They can't force their kids to get back in line, and actually just being nice is out of the question. Because if all you have is a hammer, all your problems are going to look like nails. And if hammering these kids isn't going to work, it's best abandoned as a bad job. These parents give their brats one more chance to get back in line, usually by poking at whatever boundary they've set. The children reiterate the necessity of the boundary, causing the parents to lose their shit entirely, and they storm off, telling their rotten kids that they made their choice, and when they can come to their senses, they know where they are when they wish to apologize. Brace yourselves. I trained myself to say, it's none of my business. Her bad choice, her life. She's not mine anymore. She chose her husband. She doesn't get the satisfaction of me reaching out. I know, it's like dealing with a pit bull that won't let go. My son chose his bitch wife over his own mother, but it's his choice, his loss. I am so sorry. Accept what you cannot change and move on. It's survival of the fittest. Watch how old dogs are treated by younger dogs. I agree. They made their choice. Why bother pursuing someone who says they're never going to change? Exactly. This is not my problem. My son chose to disrespect me instead of honor me. If he comes to his senses and crawls to apologize, I doubt I'll forgive him. The damage is done. So true. I can't force my daughters to choose better. I tried everything I could to. Excellent thought. This is not our problem. It's their choice to act like this and their choice to pick their lives over ours. I'm often asked what's the craziest thing I've ever seen these parents do, and this is it. Not the weird packages or the absurd threats or even the bizarre campaigns. It's this choice they harp on about. Not many of us see this coming because it's nearly impossible to imagine that a parent would put a child in a position of having to choose between their futures and their parents. We really were under the impression that we could have both. But nevertheless, they do. On top of the near constant insults, sabotage, and attacks, these parents completely expect their kids to see only to their parents and to drop everything else that gets in the way. And that includes their obligations to their own homes and families, their livelihoods, and their health. Their kids are expected to constantly and instantly skip work, miss doctor's appointments, drop their spouses, even ditch their children, and come running for no other reason than to put out the fires these parents set, end the feuds they start, and clean up the messes they make, and to pay absolute hell when they can't. But the crazy isn't just in forcing them to choose. It's in what they expect them to pick. Their health and happiness, loving spouses and happy children, or the misery and distress of living under the control of their destructive parents. These children never wanted to make this choice in the first place. They never even knew they had to. Then their parents act all hurt and outraged when their children make the right one. This leaves the parents with the task of justifying the choice they made. You know, people make mistakes, sometimes terrible mistakes, especially when trauma and shame are involved. But the way that we measure good people from bad is by how we choose to deal with it. We can either put things to rights so we don't repeat it, or we can justify what we've done so we can keep on repeating it. These parents have already done the unthinkable. They have abused their children and then abandoned them when they beg them to stop. These parents don't try to put things to rights with their children. They try to convince them that they deserved it. We measure people by how they deal with their mistakes. We measure monsters by how they justify them. The parent's second reason for going no contact is simply there to justify the first one. Their kids made the insane choice to pick their lives over their parents, and if the parent stays in contact and puts up with it, they'd only be setting a bad example by encouraging the insanity. Someone bandies about terms like pathological and narcissist, and all of a sudden what they thought was disrespect was actually outright abuse. And if the parents didn't leave, they might literally die. Brace yourselves. All bets are off once they become adults and they cross the line into abuse. What choice did you have? None. You can't stand around and let them think this is normal. No, parents often become whipping posts because children cultivate their narcissism rather than learn how to contain it. Right, this dysfunctional pattern has got to stop somewhere, and I'm prepared to carry this to my last breath. All parents should, and if they don't, they'll escalate the abuse and disrespect. Yes, it only enables the abusers, liars, manipulators to continue. We have to set the example. Exactly, do not contribute to their psychosis. I had to walk away from my sanity and for my very life. I cannot live in fear. I know they're pathological. They will literally kill us. We cannot live in fear of dying. To all the parents of selfish, self-centered people, hug yourself, encourage yourself. Just know you are an important piece of changing generational curses. Another reason is, of course, money. I have yet to meet a toxic parent who doesn't base the entire parent-child relationship on a transaction. They gave you life, so you owe them yours. They expect to be reimbursed for every hour and for every penny they spent on keeping their kids alive, starting with their undying gratitude for the opportunity. Reminding them that it was their choice to have kids and their duty to see to their well-being just makes them more furious. When their kids ask them for anything their parents don't want to do and can't claim back, such as being civil to their spouses or more responsible with the grandchildren, the parents see it as the absolute height of audacity after all they've already done for them. When their kids keep asking, the parents get even more furious and even more determined not to give in to kids who should be repaying them, not making more demands. So they get nastier to the spouses and even more dangerous around the grandchildren. When their kids tell them that they're going to need to start setting boundaries, like leaving family dinners if they get malicious, or taking the grandchildren home if they expose them to things they shouldn't, instead of just agreeing to be civil and to keep their grandchildren safe, the parents accuse the kids of punishing them for refusing to give in to their disgusting and ridiculous demands. So we have a deadlock. There's nothing ridiculous or disgusting about being civil or keeping a child safe. But for the parents, there is nothing more ridiculous or disgusting than ungrateful kids who think they know better. The parents don't understand why their kids would disagree with them, and the adult children don't understand why the parents would disagree with something as obvious as keeping a grandchild safe. While both parties wait for the other to come to their senses, it is inevitable that invitations to things like dinners and shopping trips and holidays are going to be declined. And if there are grandchildren involved, it nearly always involves keeping them away until their grandparents can agree to keep them safe when they're in their care. This effectively cuts the massive strings the parents attach to every penny and favor. The parents, disarmed and furious, accuse the children of flinging everything they've done for them in their faces. The more the children try to explain that they don't want their parents' money, just their love and support, the more viciously the parents accuse the children of being disgustingly ungrateful, proving once and for all that all they've done for them bought and paid for the right to abuse and control them, and the children resolve never to accept a penny from them again. The parents decide now that their kids have found alternate means of dinners and shopping and childcare, their kids were only using them for it, and now that they don't have to be nice to them anymore, their true disgusting, disrespectful colors have come out, forcing their parents into going no contact. Brace yourselves. It's all about the money and what they can get out of us. As soon as they don't need it, they treat us like garbage. Yes, I gave my kids everything, a home, food, clothes, but the minute they didn't need me anymore, that's when their disrespect came out. They're nothing but users and manipulators. Exactly. If we don't give them what they want, they find some way to punish us. My daughter got her mother-in-law to babysit instead of me. Says she treats her better. Please. Well, she's got a new family now. I am done. My son can take himself and his children and everything else he uses to punish me because I wouldn't tolerate taking orders. I'm done being used, and I'm definitely done being punished when I won't give him his way. Yes, and they can just take and take and take and punish us when we won't give in to their ridiculous demands. We cannot be expected to care for liars and manipulators. I am thankfully over it all. They can live their shallow lives without me because I have moved on. My user kids can rot. Once the parents had concluded this complete role reversal and created a world in which they were neglected, abused, manipulated, and nearly murdered, their final reason for no contact is that they deserve to be happy. They've spent their lives sacrificing their health and happiness, careers they could have had, relationships that could have worked, and money they could have spent, and for what? Ungrateful brats who threw it all in their faces by refusing to pay them back for being brought into this world and insisting on being housed, clothed, and fed. It's the parents' turn to be happy now, and they deserve it. Brace yourselves. I'm glad I took myself out of my daughter's life. I deserve to be loved and happy. We all do. I ended up by writing the meanest goodbye, get out of my life, you're killing me text I've ever written. And I do mean I let them have it with both barrels so hard intentionally that I knew they wouldn't let me back. I deserve to be happy. Me too. That I let that little bitch have it until I knew that there was no coming back. I have deleted, blocked, disowned my two drama-filled, ungrateful, lying grown children. I have zero stress knowing they can't communicate with me. Best decision I made in a long time. Bravo, I feel nothing for these idiots. Me neither. I'd walk past her dying on the street. You take all of that love you had for your daughter and bathe yourself in it. You deserve all that love, not her. Yes, we have one life to live. Live it free without the stress of overgrown children telling us how to live. Good on us all. Now we can move on without stress, pressure, or regrets. We deserve to be happy. They don't. I suppose one of the only questions left to answer is perhaps not whether these parents deserve to be happy, but are they? Are they happy now that they're free from the pressure and the stress? Do they sound happy to you? Brace yourselves. 20 years on, and I still can't believe there's disgusting excuses for human beings. Do they ever realize that? No, they don't. They just leave us to clean up their messes with no one around to help. Yes, no one. It's not even just my ex-kids. Lately, it's like no one wants to be around me at all. Even my neighbor runs into her house. Even the cashier is usually so friendly is off. I know, it's like these kids just suck everything out of our lives and just leave their hate. I hate this, I hate them, I hate everything. I said I'd live my life on my terms, and I'm glad I did, but I can't help seeing other happy families and wishing they weren't. I feel it too, especially when I see happy families. I get so angry. Why should other families get to be happy and I don't? I just think on what's coming. These brats will get what they deserve. Justice comes to us all. Yes, it's the only thing that keeps me going, knowing that they'll be as miserable. One day. Yes, one day we'll get what we deserve. So do they? Do we? I suppose the pursuit of happiness is in what we pursue. If we pursue growth, integrity, and courage, then that's exactly what we will achieve and how we will be rewarded. We see it in the dignity in our successes, the warmth in our relationships, and the delight in the eyes of our children. When people pursue control, deceit, and vengeance, then they can't be surprised at the rewards. If these parents want to see coercion in their successes, duress in their relationships, and fear in the eyes of their children, and they are rewarded with disgust, apathy, and silence, then maybe they did get what they deserved. Now, unless there's anything I've missed, I will be leaving these awful parent groups and moving on to what we're going to do about this. We're going to break rules and patterns and bonds and build some healthy, shiny new ones and put our peace and our pride where it belongs. So let me know what I can help you with, and let's go get what we deserve. Don't forget to download the guide. The details are in the description. Brace yourselves.